Warning, the following video contains spoilers for Star Trek Picard. Now, ahead, warp factor 8. Engage! Greetings, minuscule-minded residents of the planet Earth. I am Q. As your limited intellects may have gathered, I'm going to share my thoughts on Star Trek Picard. So watch, listen, and learn. This is the third episode of Jean Luc's little end-of-life crisis. The end is the beginning. It sounds like a lame fortune cookie. I am really hoping this is the end of the beginning, because I'd really like to get this story moving. I realize nowadays many writers like to dish out the story piece by minuscule piece to leave the watchers wanting more. And this can work for a short time, but I really hope they don't let it drag out too long. In this episode, we got to see another little glimpse of the attack on Mars 14 years ago, and then got to see Jean Luc as he attempted to get Starfleet to still help the Romulans. He was with a younger and obviously Starfleet bamboozled Raffi, and we get to see how upset she gets when Jean Luc's little theatrics gets her booted from Starfleet. But really, there has to be something more for the level of venom that she's dishing out at poor Jean Luc. Can they just tell the whole story? And what's with this pilot who's injured without explanation, but instead of having his little wound sealed, decides to throw a shirt over it? Is this showing how tough and manly he is? Is it also showing how great his laundry detergent is? Will this be a commercial? I'm really hoping they're putting the final pieces together. Now, Saji, who it turns out she's the Destroyer, she's all about using Romulan mythology to heal the former Borg, and somehow knows things that she shouldn't know. Now, if she's programmed to think she's human and to stay hidden, the programmer did a horrible job. Maybe it's the same programmer from the Iowa caucus. I just get the feeling they're trying to up the drama, and everybody hates poor Jean Luc. Except, of course, for holograms and former Tal Shiar, who are apparently much better than the current Tal Shiar. They don't make them like they used to because the current Tal Shiar outnumbered the old guard and Picard and still got their asses whooped. They ended up dead or captured. Why does Jean Luc have so many phasers just hidden around his house? Is he that worried about Jehovah's Witnesses? Or did his Tal Shiar flatmates just hide them everywhere? Romulans are known for their paranoia. Now, one thing that these writers often overlook is that Vulcans and Romulans are much stronger than humans. Jean Luc holding his own against a Romulan, even for a few moments, especially at his age, would require an act of Q, or God. Same thing. Stop writing Romulans and Vulcans as just humans with pointed ears. So it's all so very dramatic, and I'm not saying the show is bad. I'm just saying I think they've drawn it out long enough. It's time for Jean Luc to get out there and save Saji from mental patients and Romulan spies and figure out this whole big mystery. I really hope they finish all the backstory up and just move forward next episode. Now, it has come to my attention that some of you think that this Federation and Starfleet are part of some dystopian future, so far from Gene Roddenberry's dream. How simple-minded of you, but what should I expect? Now, it may not be the utopia that Jean Luc thinks that humanity has reached the level of, but it's certainly not a horrible place to live, for mortals at least. I would find it dreadful and droll, but of course I have taste. Now, yes, Starfleet got all scared of synthetics and outlawed them because of that little Mars incident, just like the Federation got scared and outlawed any type of genetic manipulation because of that pesky little eugenics war and Khan and his ilk. Now, there is still plenty of prejudice with the humans and all the other species in that Federation of theirs. Hugh, of course, was right about former Borg being treated badly. James C. Kirk hated Klingons with a passion because of what they did to his son for many years, but he did chill a bit after the Khitomer Accords. Now, Worf hates Romulans, but of course, considering how unevolved Klingons are, that might not be the best example. but Julian Bashir had to hide his genetic enhancements for fear of discrimination. The Federation and Starfleet have always been flawed. Now, this doesn't mean in their pitiful way they don't aspire to be better, but they will make mistakes and have setbacks just like any child. After all, these organizations aren't made up of Q. Regardless, this episode did fill in some backstory and got Picard a ship. So maybe now we can move forward. I didn't hate the episodes by any means, but Jean Luc is taking his good old time getting moving, though I suppose at his stage of development in the human cycle, it's to be expected. In other words, he's old. For a human. But now he's got his new little crew. Let's get on with this story. But of course we now need to wait for the next episode. Now I would have watched it already if the Continuum hadn't restricted me from peering ahead through time. But we are not restricted from watching these videos over here. And of course, you can subscribe below for the wisdom of Q. Be sure to hit that notification bell and follow this channel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember, the trial never ends.